Nongoma. Today marks the year since the passing of late Amazulu King Goodwill Zwelithini, KaBhekuzulu. Two separate memorial prayers are being held at palaces in Nongoma in northern KwaZulu-Natal. And for more on this story, on across to SABC News reporter Vusi Khumalo, who is at the KwaKhangelamankengane Royal Palace. He joins us now live. Vusi, very good morning to you. What are you witnessing there?
Yes, good morning, Blaine. Yes, indeed, we are here at KwaKhangelamankengane Royal Palace. This is where there's a solemn occasion marking exactly a year since the passing on of the beloved King Goodwill Zwelithini KaBhekuzulu, who passed exactly on this day 12 months ago, on the 12th of March in 2021. Well, indeed, today we are having this commemoration since his untimely passing last year. I'm going to ask our camera person, Nhlanhla Faso, just to pan a little bit on his right so that you can see the marquee that has been erected outside the Royal Palace. This is where inside there is a church service which was scheduled to begin exactly at 10, but I can say that formal proceedings have not started yet, but there are gospel or religious songs being sung. There are interfaith organizations that are inside already in that marquee, but we are going to get the whole program from Prince Thulani Zulu, who is also one of the half-brothers of the late King, the King Goodwill Zwelithini KaBhekuzulu. Mntwana, if we can just briefly take us the journey from 1971, when the late King was bestowed with the kingship of the Amazulu nation in 1971, just to highlight some of the activities or what will now be seen as his legacy since 1971. We know that the king's being lauded about umkhosi womhlanga, there's a male circumcision, and all other activities that are lauded for the late king.
Of course, we are here to celebrate the life well led, the king of all seasons, King Goodwill Zwelithini KaBhekuzulu, as we have said, who was coronated on the 3rd of December 1971, who passed away after reigning almost 50 years. He has done so many for the Zulu nation, as you have highlighted, that he actually started umkhosi womhlanga with his own children in 1984. And then he also tried and revived some of the cultural activities that were already dead some time ago. Umkhosi wokweshwama, but he named it umkhosi woselwa, which is well known as the first fruit ceremony or incwala to other nations. And then there was also the male circumcision, as you said. He revived that in 2009 as a way of just preventing HIV/AIDS, as well as any other infectious diseases.
But sadly, Mntwana, as we are commemorating the year since his passing, there are differences that are deeply rooted. As we saw just 2 weeks ago, Judge Madondo did say that the king-elect, Amazulu, can then be coronated. He is the rightful heir to the throne. There are differences within the royal family. As we are standing here today, there are parallel commemoration for his death.
I don't want to answer this question of parallel commemorations, but everyone who has integrity will know that this palace was hit twice. On the 12th of March, His Majesty passed away, but then in April 29, the Queen also passed away. So we take this as one event. We couldn't commemorate one after another. We had to make it once for the sake of resources and for the sake of our comfort. We can't blame for someone who think maybe they have commemorated the king on the other side. So I don't want to talk about that. But to the whole nation, it must know that it was befitting for all the nation to come here, because when the king passed away and then some few days later the queen passed away, everybody was shocked. It was devastating indeed. You can even see the siblings here, the princes born of the queen, that mentally and even spiritually they are hurt. They just need a lot of prayers from different denominations. As you see, as we are doing, we are trying to bring them back into feet again, so that they know what to do next, especially His Majesty the King. You know, he has been in difficult situation when you lose a mother and you lose a father at the same time, and then you are placed into a position that you think will give you some power, but then the sibling taking it away, it becomes a crisis that you can never think of. So that's why we are here. One, to commemorate the death of His Majesty the King, and secondly, to commemorate also the passing away of the Queen.
During the course of early this week, there was a talk that government of KwaZulu-Natal, led by the Premier Sihle Zikalala, they were going to fund or sponsor this event of the prayer meeting. But later on, we got the wind that they are suspending all their funding, especially towards the refreshments. Is government involved this time around? Is government on board?
Maybe I didn't hear you well. Are you saying the government has suspended the funding of this program?
Yes.
Of this program of the commemoration?
Yes.
I was not aware. I thought maybe at KwaKhetha, maybe they have actually funded it. I'm not aware if they did not, because as far as the government is concerned, I don't think they had to choose where. They were to just give funding to the royal family, and then it would be up to us how do we proceed with the funding. So I'm not aware if they did not. I thought maybe they did a fund in KwaKhetha, but here they didn't. As you can see here, we have gone and requested some donations from municipalities and the businessmen who love the kingdom.
Did you request any funding from government, especially to from the Premier?
No, we did not. In fact, we know the Premier is clear on saying he has suspended whatever assistance that can be given in terms of any program of the royalty. So we cannot actually go there when we know that the budget won't be available for any type of program.
Just lastly, Mtwana, how does the program look like?
In fact, it's not a very long program. We start with the prayers led by Archdeacon Manqele of the Anglican Church, of course, with the assistance from all other clergy from different denomination, as you have seen here, that there are different congregations. They will be working together, and then after the prayer, we'll have Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, the traditional Prime Minister, having some words, and then introducing His Majesty the King, who will then say something on this day. I thank you so much.
Okay, thanks. There's Prince Tulani, who is representing this time around KwaKhangelamankengane Royal Palace, because we understand that there is also another commemoration taking place at KwaKhethomthandayo. As I step out of the shot, Nhlanhla Faso is giving you the visuals of the palace, KwaKhangelamankengane Royal Palace, which was actually built by the late king. This is where the king-elect was born, King Misuzulu Zwelithini, alongside other siblings, naming also Bambindlovu and all other princesses, as well as princes that were born here. He was actually, the late king was actually born at KwaKhethomthandayo, where our reporter Simphiwe Makhanya is also standing by with our colleague as well, camera person Undabezinhle Khumalo. Mr. Simphiwe baba, kuhamba kanjani ngalapho kwakhetha? Awusitshele nje ezikamumva mfowethu.
Thank you very much, Vusi. Well, indeed, we are inside the premises of KwaKhethomthandayo Royal Palace, where I can certainly tell our viewers that security is indeed tight here. I'm just going to move out of the shot and ask my colleague Ndabezinhle Khumalo just to give you a sense of the number of police personnel that are deployed here at this palace. But indeed, Vusi, as you said earlier on there, that in an ideal situation, we would be having one prayer meeting commemorating the departure of His Majesty King Goodwill Zwelithini. But of course there are divisions in the royal family, and those divisions are even, evident as we mark his first year anniversary today since he passed away. Indeed, there is that event taking place at KwaKhangelamankengane. There's another one, a separate one, taking place at KwaKhethomthandayo, where we are. I can just give you a picture of, in terms of the number of people that are here. The formal program is just about to commence. We've seen quite a number, of course, of religious leaders making their way inside the palace. And as I speak to you, I can see a few of them actually, entering the palace as we speak. Indeed, it's going to be an eventful day in terms of the program. The prayer is going to be the primary, activity here, but also there will be a reflection in terms of the life of His Majesty King Goodwill Zwelithini. But what is going to be crucial for the Amazulu royal family now, since the departure of His Majesty King Goodwill Zwelithini, would be to try and unify this divided family, because of course the judgment which came from the Pietermaritzburg High Court last week, which basically said that King-elect Misuzulu can now be officially installed as Amazulu King. But of course we know that some members, senior members for that matter, of the royal family are vehemently opposed to him ascending to the throne. And just a short while ago we saw Prince Sokozani making his way inside the palace. And Prince Sokozani, our viewers would recall, is that prince who stood up when the will of the late king was read to try and ask a question from Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, who then basically told him to sit down, and he refused, and then mayhem broke out during that official reading of the will. Today he's here attending this separate prayer meeting, but of course we know that Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi will not be here, will be attending the other one, which is taking place at KwaKhangelamankengane Royal Palace. It's going to be interesting indeed to see who comes to this particular one, because as things stand at the moment, it is quite clear that there are two opposing factions in the royal family, and it is going to be interesting to hear the messages that they are going to be delivering during the prayer in terms of what is going to be their way forward. Of course, we know that the court made its decision last week, but divisions still remain. Blaine, it's back to you in Johannesburg for now.
Simphiwe, I just wonder, with regards to the issues within the royal family, how is it resonating among the surrounding communities?
Blaine, when the king departed last year on this day, many people were calling for the Amazulu nation, to unite, to come together as one and mourn the passing of the king. But immediately after his departure, then we started to see those divisions. And I can certainly tell you that many people in this part of the country, in KwaZulu-Natal in particular, are basically calling for unity amongst this family. They are saying that it's not going to take the province anywhere, or is not going to take the Amazulu nation anywhere if these divisions continue, but it would seem that the royal family is indeed having a difficult time trying to find consensus around the issue of who exactly should be the rightful heir to the throne. Blaine.
Simphiwe Makhanya is in KwaKhethomthandayo. We also spoke to Vusi Khumalo in KwaKhangelamankengane. We here at SABC News are bringing you all sides of the story.